I like to think of us as fellow nerds, and I'm using that nerd moniker as a compliment. Ed, you love technology,
Yeah.
and you've embraced it throughout your career.
So first IBM PC XT in 1986. AccuCam, late 80s. I've come full circle now because the guy who built the AccuCam is now pitching his first generation of ultrasonic periodontal probe to me some 40 years later.
Right.
Air abrasion in the early 90s, I saw as a great way to further our care for phobic patients. Kids treat fillings without a drill using air abrasion. Phenomenal. And along the way, technologies like digital radiography in 1998, I was probably one of the first kids on the block to have that. I wanted to build digital record keeping, and there was nothing available for dentists in 2005. So I set out to build that myself, along with the help of my son-in-law. Not my son. He was already involved with this other project called Facebook by then. But I had a son-in-law who was also a techie who helped me build that. One funny story I will tell about my son and his impact on my office went back to 1996 when he was 12 years old. As early tech adopters, we were already doing electronic claim processing, credit card processing, all kinds of stuff where we could through a dial-up modem in the early 90s.
Right.
And my assistant noted that in 1996, that funny thing was going on. She goes, after 3 o'clock, I have a hard time getting a patient eligibility verification or getting a claim through. And what is it about after 3 o'clock? Well, it didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that Mark and Randy, who had their own computers in their room, were now home from school and were going on America Online, which was the way to get the internet, cutting into our bandwidth.
They were using all your bandwidth, weren't they?
So I put in I had a T1 line put into my house in 96. So we had full-time broadband. And Mark was like at a perfect storm. He was 12 years old and at an age where back in 96, where most families had one computer that was shared among everyone else, he had his own computer with 24/7 full-time broadband and the ability to figure out how to make 8 computers that were in the house and office talk to each other.
Wow.
And at dinner one day, I was discussing the ComLight system that I was thinking of having put in to the practice, a system of communication from one op to the other. And he's like, well, don't they have to drill run wires into all your rooms to do that? And I go, yeah. And he goes, well, you already have Ethernet. You already have computers in all your rooms. Why would you need that when you could communicate through your computers? And I said, how hard is that? He goes, well, I think I could probably build you something in less than a week. Well, he went working on it that night and he had it ready in a day.
Wow.
So the next day in my office, ZuckNet was born. And we had our own inter-office communication where when my hygienist was ready for an exam, a little pop-up window would pop up on my computer and she could even type in a note. And oh, by the way, I told her number 19, the amalgam is too big. She really needs a crown. So that was my first introduction to the kid's ability to take what knowledge he learned from computers and transform it to that world.
Something practical and usable and something that served you. Very cool. I did not know that. That's very cool.